Before we get into this episode, I want to give a special thank you to the incredible Reno Tahoe businesses that have made our Valentine's Day giveaway possible. So, first, shout out to Destin and Daniel at Dorinda's Chocolates, who are killing it and making the most incredible chocolates in all of Reno Tahoe. They literally have a Valentine's Day special going on right now where they make chocolate covered strawberries that you have to pre order. So, this episode is coming out on a Wednesday, which is 2 days before Valentine's Day. So pre-order, get those chocolate covered strawberries in advance. They will make your date night even that more special. So thank you to the Dorinda's Chocolates team for making this gift basket so sweet. Next up, I want to give a special shout out to the Chocolate Walrus. I have one of my favorite black and white Cruella de Vil meets Burning Man type jackets from there. And anytime I want to have a fun night out on the town, I want to dress up, be hot, just like wear a statement piece. This is the piece I'm grabbing out of my closet. I highly recommend them. They are just the most adorable, cute shop. They have a bunch of fun things that you can buy and wear, to spice up intimacy with your partner. Or maybe you just want to take the girls and go have a fun shopping day, do you. I highly recommend them. They are so fun. So thank you to the Chocolate Walrus team. And last but not least, the Jessie. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the team at the Jessie. I absolutely love going to this boutique hotel that has the cutest little taqueria, bar, coffee shop right at the bottom of it. It's on 4th Street, and it just reminds me of like New York Sunday morning coffee shop vibes. And then it can turn into this like fun, sexy atmosphere where you can just feel good about being in downtown Reno. I absolutely love them. Everyone is just so friendly, so nice, and it's just really unlike any other place in Reno. It doesn't even make you feel like you're in Reno. But thank you. Thank you to all of these businesses that truly made our Valentine's Day giveaway possible and so special and so fun. And with that, let's get into the episode. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite locals.
I have something to say. For everybody that's ever doubted me, whoever thought, Mike, you'll never make it through high school, even though you might have gone to college with me. I have proof right here, all right? This is my high school diploma. What do you have? Prove it and suck it. All right. Have you ever had to use your high school diploma?
I don't even have my high school diploma. I mean, I don't carry it with me. I think it's at my parents' house.
Oh, I keep that thing on me everywhere I go.
You have a lot of belongings that you keep on you.
Yeah, well, you get pulled over. They ask for license, registration, diploma. You got to be ready. You're like, oh, don't worry, I graduated. But the reason I brought that fun, useless piece of paper out is that you just had a birthday.
Yep.
By the grace of God, you're 28.
Yep, big 2-8.
Yep. And crazy thing about being 28 is there's a 10-year gap between when you became a legal adult and the present moment.
Yes.
And what happens during that is we usually have a 10-year reunion for high school.
I am calling the graduation class of 2015 at California High School in San Ramon.
It sounds like a made-up high school.
Where is the invite for our reunion?
Yeah. Who's responsible for putting that out?
Well, when I looked it up, it's the class president, which I think is very traditional, but it can be anybody who wants to be involved in putting it together. I also saw that you can invite faculty and staff.
So teachers can go?
Yes, teachers, administration.
Oh, man. Do you think they go to their own reunion? Like life is just a constant revolving door of high school?
But they're there.
Right. So
I
imagine
know.
constantly living in it every day. And you're like, I can't wait to go and see the people that I hated in high school. Yeah. I do think some teachers kind of get like their payback. Like, I didn't get this when I was in high school, so now I'm going to bang the prom king. And those teachers go to jail.
Or I'm going to flunk the most athletic kid in class.
Or the loudest, most obnoxious. Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Go
pretty
with
silly.
PTSD. Yeah. So you said class president is the one that books these things or sends the invites out?
Yeah, I think so. When I was just looking it up, high school reunions started in the 1800s. which I thought to be kind of a long time. So about 225 years this has been going on.
Well, it's kind of when high school started. Like before that, it was just education. Like, oh, I'm sending you away to college, and there would be like 12-year-olds at college.
Right.
So, yeah, high school has changed.
Yes. But it's usually the class president. I was about to say it's usually the class clown that puts it together. But the idea of a high school reunion is to reconnect with people of your past, people that were important to you during a very formative time of your life. And it's supposed to like have you reflect on the past and where you are in the present.
Hmm. Is that what
Um,
it's supposed to do?
that's what the reunion's supposed to be. It's just supposed to be a time where you can come back, show how successful you are, show all the failures.
The way it's been described to me is that it's a dick measuring contest at like the 10-year, it's your first reunion, I think, is your 10-year reunion. So
Well,
it's like,
there's 5 year. There's 5 year,
there's
10 year.
5-year
Yeah.
reunions?
Well,
What's
when
going
I
on
went
there?
back to the Facebook page for Cal High, someone had talked about a 5 year reunion in it, and then a bunch of other like weird shit was going on, and I think it got scammed.
Well, it was also
So
during COVID.
yeah, that's true. Our 5 year, yeah,
Doesn't
that's
really
very true.
matter. I think a
2019.
5-year reunion would just be odd. It's like, all right, now that I've graduated college, I'm really insecure about my spot in the world. Like, picture being 18 and being that kid. It's like, I'm not going to school. Like, I'm not going to college.
Right.
Like, there's an insecurity level there for a lot of people, which is ridiculous now. But fast forward 10 years, and everybody's like, okay, maybe that wasn't really worth it. Like, I'm fat, I'm bald, I'm divorced. That's kind of why I want to go to my reunion. I want to see who's changed.
So I feel like a 10 year reunion is just a little too close to comfort for me. Like, I feel
Really?
like I just healed from my high school trauma and I'm not ready to introduce it back into my life.
Hmm.
And that's being a little bit dramatic, but I feel like the 20-year reunion is enough time in between where you pretty much forgot about the past at this point. You haven't seen anyone in 20 years. You don't interact with them. You probably have unfollowed them on social media or they've unfollowed you. Like, there's literally no connection to that time of your life.
Hmm.
And I understand why a 20-year reunion might be a little bit more appetizing to go to, if
More
you will.
appetizing.
Yeah.
I think 10 years when everybody's like, okay, you guys haven't seen me in a decade. I'm hot now. Like,
Right.
they take the glasses
If you're
off and they're a
hot.
model. Right. Well, that's kind of the fun part too.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened?
Mhm.
There's going to be people that, got fat, that got divorced, that got bald. There's going to be a lot of that. And I think there's going to be like, my mom told me that. So she was class president. She had to plan a couple of her reunions. And I thought that she just took that upon herself. I was like, that's fucking stupid. I would never. I don't have the free time. Could you imagine, like, putting together a reunion for people you forgot about a
Well,
decade ago?
you don't want to spend your free time putting together a class reunion.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
I don't care about these people. If I did, they'd be my friends.
Right.
I'd hang out with them.
Well, part of me is also with the whole reunion because I would maybe go to a reunion if it's people that I truly were friends with and interacted with.
Hmm.
But I'm not going to go to a high school reunion with a whole class of people where one, I probably forgot your name, you probably forgot who I am, and two, like we were never friends or interacted with each other, you
Well, I think
know?
it's like to rekindle some of those friendships sometimes. Like maybe you guys moved across the country. It's kind of like that lost romance, but it's friendship. And it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in 10 years. How have you been?
Right.
But that was pre-internet, pre-social media, where you could follow somebody and see what they're doing
Where
on a
like a
Tuesday.
reunion was a true reunion.
Yeah, like you actually get to catch up.
Yes.
But I do think social media has kind of ruined what a reunion should be.
Oh yeah, social media has ruined high school reunions.
Probably. It sounds weird. Ruined reunion.
I know. I had to think about it for a second. I was like,
Am I saying that weird?
did I yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm keeping tabs on people. Like, oh, I see that you had a baby. I see the dad's no longer
Well, you're
around.
connecting with people that you still want to connect with and you've probably, even the people that you weren't really close with but you just followed
Hmm.
on social media and you still follow them, like you see different phases of people's life through social media. So it really does take away that mystery and that desire to show up and be like, hey, I'm hotter. It's like they either see that you got hot or not.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like you see the successes and the different life stages that people have gone through. The only thing I would say that social media lacks is like that true interaction of like communicating with one another, because you see pictures, you see videos, but you don't really see a lot of people like talking on their social media
Right.
and how they behave into the world. Like you don't really see that. And so
Yeah,
I
you
think
see
like
them.
that would be the air of mystery for me,
Hmm.
of going back and seeing how have people changed?
Yeah.
How have people truly matured?
That makes sense. Yeah. I'm more interested in like the people that I genuinely enjoyed hanging out with, but
Yeah.
just don't keep in touch. Like I follow them on social, but no idea what's going on in their real lives. And it's mostly the guys I played rugby with.
Mhm.
Like besides that, I've forgotten about a lot of people. Like sometimes me and my friends will gossip a little bit and be like, "Oh, did you hear that so and so is trans or something?" I don't know what it is, but it's one of those where it's just like, "Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that happened." Like what? Sorry,
What just happened to you?
I
You
peanut
have a
buttered
fucking
my.
stroke.
Yeah, pretty much. That keeps happening. Why does that keep happening?
I don't know. Something's that was like a glitch in the Matrix. Like
Yeah,
something just weirdly happened to
my
your.
AI just like short circuited for a second. It's like, yeah, that's been happening a lot to me. I feel like is the peanut butter mouth stroke symptoms.
That's okay. It's been happening to me too, where I'm like, what's happening to my brain? It's melting, and
What
it's not
are
not
symptoms
good.
of a stroke? Sudden difficulty speaking, slurred speech, trouble understanding speech, and confusion. Sudden severe headache, fainting or seizure, sudden weakness or numbness, and sudden vision problems.
Okay, well, these are all good symptoms to be aware of. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
That is actually very good to be aware of. We drink a lot of caffeine. I don't know if caffeine would cause a stroke.
Definitely causes high blood pressure. I've been having a couple like random bloody noses, and I think
You
it's from
have,
high blood
actually.
pressure. Like, I was also very angry, which raises your blood pressure.
Yeah.
So, story time, real quick. Friday night, I went out to get a sweet treat, and I was being naughty, but I leave the home around 10:15. I return home at 10:30 p.m. on a Friday, and our parking lot is completely full. There's no parking spots.
Right.
And if you park in a covered parking spot, you can get towed because that's where other people park.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, where do I park if none of the open spots are available? Well, there's a bunch of like, handicap spots that no one really uses because we don't have a whole lot of handicapped people. So I parked in one of the 8 available ones and I went out in the morning to get my car and it's gone.
So
was
fast.
Towed. Like my car had not even been sitting there for 12 hours. They towed it at 1 a.m. And so, yeah, yesterday we had to go pick up my car from the impound lot.
And what did you do when you went to go pick up your car? You.
This is going to be published after the fact, I hope. So, I didn't want to pay the ticket. It was $429 to get my car out for sitting in less than 12 hours of an impound lot. I didn't want to pay that ticket, so I wrapped my knee in an ace bandage and I created this whole backstory that my knee got fucked up in jujitsu.
And we had crutches from the last time that I
Broke
my foot.
Yeah, so I hobbled into the tow station on crutches and had this elaborate story about, oh yeah, I don't have a handicap placard because this happened last night.
Seeing you fake it is just one of the funniest things to me.
Yeah, well, I'm not a good actor.
It's so funny.
I've never said that I'd be a good actor. I'm not cut out for Hollywood. But yeah, did it look real when I was hobbling around on the crutches?
Yeah, I just think it was like just so dramatic for the situation
Well,
that part of
imagine
me.
I was okay. This was character acting, okay, or method acting. Like I had to get into that crippled mindset. I wake up, I was crippled horrifically the night before. I'm upset. I don't have a handicap placard, but I park in the one place for my people.
Right.
And I wake up and they tow my car. Like I have every right to be upset. I'm crippled. Is crippled a word that you're not supposed to
I
use
don't know. It
anymore?
feels
Like
a little.
midget?
Yeah.
I mean, but like, it's just a word, and to cripple something is to like break it, to make it non-functional.
Yeah. I just think it's like one of those hot button words that got taken out of our
Well,
society and culture.
you can say something is crippled, but to refer to somebody as a cripple is different. There has to be a D on the end. Otherwise, it's pretty fucked up. Like, can't see somebody in crutches with an ace bandage around their knee and call them a cripple when they're not. You know.
All right. Okay. Moving on and coming back to the topic of our conversation, high school reunions. We came up with a couple questions to ask each other and just kind of discuss, and also pose the question for anybody listening who has never really thought about going back to their high school reunion, or maybe hasn't thought about it in a while.
Or is thinking about it every day and is terrified.
Right.
Someone like that.
So you kind of already said your answer, but my first question is, would you attend a high
fuck
school
yeah.
reunion?
Yes.
And
So
why is that?
I already told you, like, I want to see the rugby guys. Just catch up, see how they've been doing, because they're homies, but they're not like homies. You know, I don't call them up and be like, hey, how's it going? I don't even
Right.
talk to my best friends that way. Like, I call them up maybe once every 6 months. So
Right.
communication's not there. So it'd
Yeah.
be nice to see these people and see what they've been up to. I am like a gossipy little bitch, and I do want to see like who's changed, who's stayed the same, who's never altered their personality whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then I kind of want to know like the drama. I want to know the juicy
Really?
deets.
You want to
Oh,
know the
yeah.
tea?
I want to know the tea of people. I want to be like, so what's been going on in life? And somebody's going to be like, yeah, you know, after the incident. And like, I don't know what the incident is, but I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of life has happened. A decade has passed.
Right.
I don't know. A lot of people have had incidents. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's why I want to go. Do you want to go to your 10-year reunion?
No.
Why?
No. I have
Very staunch no.
I have no desire to open that chapter of my life again right now in this phase of life that I'm in. I feel like I'm just really focused on the present and where I'm at. Um yeah, I don't have any inkling of wanting to go back to my high school reunion. Like literally none. I think the people that I have stayed connected with, which really isn't a lot.
No.
Actually, I would say none
It's
from high school. I would say in like the last couple years, friendships that I had where I was really close with, like a couple groups, like it's just kind of faded out.
Mhm.
Um, Not really like for a particular reason. It's just more like, you know, I think proximity is huge. Like when you have a lot of distance from your friends and you're not actively reaching out or communicating, like I just think it naturally starts to fizzle out. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's, you're friends with someone in a certain period of time and you move on to the next period of life, and that's okay. But there's no desire to like rekindle anything. I don't know what I'm rekindling. Like there's no the people that I do follow, I just like I'm not interested in like asking more questions. I don't care about their drama or like life, really.
You don't want to go to a reunion,
No.
right? I do. So you're going to be my hot piece of arm candy. Are you nervous about, I guess since you're not going to your reunion, allegedly, I think you might. Are you nervous about interacting with exes?
I didn't date anyone from my class.
What does that
Like
mean?
I dated someone in middle school that I no, what do you say? Stop looking at me like
When
that.
you were in high school?
No,
I know.
when we were all in, oh, this is something else I wanted to bring up. But when we were all in middle school, like my 8th grade, I had transferred and I dated someone in 8th grade that we went to high school with, but I never dated in high school anyone in my grade. Not from what I can remember.
Did you date up or down?
I dated up.
Okay. I always found it weird that older girls would date down sometimes. That was like very rare. But when it happened, all the young guys were like, dude, how'd you do that?
Yeah,
Like,
well, there was a couple girls from the class above us that did date down and date some of the boys in my grade.
even the way you're talking about it, you have kind of a hesitancy. You're like, I don't know if that's all right.
What do you mean?
You're like, I don't know. You're kind of like they were dating down. That's odd.
Well, it kind of felt like you're stealing our boys.
They're like Vikings. They're taking our boys.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of true. Like it just felt like you were stealing the guys from our grade.
Like,
You
what,
know,
you can't find anybody your age?
right?
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Well, that's how the
or
guys
older.
felt.
Yeah, I bet.
'Cause, yeah, senior boys, if you were a freshman and some senior dude is hitting on other freshmen, you're just like, yo, first of all, you're 18, she's 14. That's creepy.
Right.
Second, you can drive. I have to call my mom to pick us up to go
Yeah,
somewhere. This is not fair.
I remember being in freshman year and there were like juniors and seniors that were dating some people in my friend group. And at the time, you think like you're the coolest person on the
Yeah.
planet. You think it's like you think you're cool. And then you get older and you're in college and you get past college and you reflect back and you're like, that was actually kind of weird.
Well, now at this stage of life, it doesn't matter. If you're 28 dating a
No, it
30-year-old, who
doesn't
gives a
matter
shit?
at
Yeah.
the stage of life that we're in now, but I'm just talking about like you're 18 dating a 15-year-old or 14-year-old,
Which
like
is
that's
two very different stages of
it
life.
does feel very like the maturity level is different. It feels like there's a little bit of a power dynamic there. I don't
It's
know,
just
it just
creepy.
feels wrong. It
Yeah,
feels
well,
creepy.
one of you can go to prison and pay taxes and join the army, and the other one has an entire high school career to think about doing
Yeah.
that. Ugh, it's gross. But
But I want
exes, interacting with exes.
yeah.
Like,
Interacting with exes. Well, again, I didn't date anyone from my class. So a high school reunion is usually just your class. But if we were to go back and it was like the class above us was going to be there, and I mean, actually, I don't really think I interacted with a lot of people from the class below us, but if the class above us was going to be there, it would just be weird, I think.
why?
I don't know. I just like wouldn't want to see exes.
Okay.
I mean, like here's the thing. If I see them out in the wild and we are interacting in the wild, it's organic, it's natural, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. But to go into a forced situation where you know you're going to see them, it's almost like you're planning on meeting up with them. Like you're going into a high school reunion and you know that you're going to see that person. That feels weird to me. Like I don't want to force myself to go into any situation that would feel awkward and like I'm revisiting this past chapter of my life. Also, here's the thing. You and I have been dating long enough, and when we started dating, we were young enough where you met some of my high school friends that I continued to stay friends with for a while that were like my core group. So, I feel like you have seen that part of my life. So, I don't feel like I need to show you to people that I don't really interact with.
That's a very good
Do
point.
you know what I mean?
I do, because you've interacted with like all of my actual friends from high school,
Right.
and then everyone else is like I don't even know what to call it, a secondary friend.
Yeah.
They're above acquaintance but below like a homie.
Right. Like in like if we were to go together, which I hope that we would, like I would never step foot by myself. Like I would just not do that. I would want to be with you.
It's too dangerous.
It's not even I'm making it out like I'm fearful of it. It's literally it feels like I'm just opening up a chapter of my life that I'm over.
Mm. That's a better
You
way
know?
to put it.
I'm
Yeah.
just over it. Like, and here's the thing. Sorry, I actually had a lot of thoughts about this because I feel like for so long I reflected on my high school experiences like really negative in a way. And I don't think high school is really that serious. Like when you're in high school, you're so immature,
Right.
right? Like your brain isn't even developed. So when I look back on all the things that quote unquote like traumatized me or kind of, changed me as a human, at that time, it's because all of us were very immature and like not treating each other very well and there was drama and it
Well,
just
you're
like was so unnecessary.
you're testing out social boundaries.
Right.
Like you just kind of learned how to put words together in a normal sentence that adults understand.
Yeah.
That are like, oh, you can have a conversation.
Right.
And then you're also
I don't
learning
even know
which,
if I was having like proper conversations with people in high school. I don't even know like how I talked.
but
Like
that's I think middle school and high school people are learning what is and is not socially appropriate.
right.
Where it's like, oh, you can't date your friend's little sister. Like that's wrong. Can't do that. And it's like, oh, well, I thought it was fine.
Right.
And then you
We
realize
were close. I was at their house every single day. Like
yeah. It's like,
wouldn't
what's
they be
wrong?
happy? Yeah.
We can blend this whole family thing together.
Right.
Everyone's friends. It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. So it's testing out those boundaries and learning what is and isn't okay.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of people also hold on to those feelings from high school.
Right.
And they're like, I remember you as this.
Yes.
And so I wonder, going back into that environment, surrounded by the people that you grew up with, do you revert back to that person?
No, I don't. I personally don't think I would, but
Mhm.
I don't think you do because I I mean, I would hope that people, grow and mature and change over 10 years. Like that's a decade worth of life experience.
You would
I would
hope.
you would hope that
Right.
people change, right? For the better.
Mhm.
Like I hope that people are growing into the best versions of themselves.
Not me. I'm preying on their downfall.
But I don't think I would revert back to my high school self because I feel like I have stepped into this comfortability of who I am that I don't even know any other way to act. So
Mhm.
it would almost be like if I were to go back to a high school reunion, it would almost feel like I'm meeting them again for
Mhm.
the first time.
Yeah.
It's not like you're rekindling, it's like literally you're meeting somebody new. That's kind of how I feel. I feel like that's how maybe they would feel with me.
Mm.
I really do feel like I've changed over the years. Like I think I'm the same person in terms of my personality,
Mhm.
but I think my maturity, my mindset on things.
Yeah, I'm not gonna date a high schooler.
Well,
You're mature.
okay.
She's very mature for her age.
No, but I'm saying like when you go back into that environment, like I think that you're meeting a lot of the people that you were friends with for the first time again.
I think that's a very optimistic outlook on people. I think that if you have a memory of somebody as the last time you interacted with them, which was a decade ago, and in your mind they're still that person, you might treat them that way. And so when people treat you the way that you were, I think that like subconsciously a lot of people will revert back to like if you were that weird dorky guy
Mhm.
that didn't get a lot of love and the narrative was always against you. And then and
Yeah.
but you're not. You're this big jacked handsome dude and you might have like made all these life strides, but then you go back to that moment and you're like, "Oh, I am that little guy." I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that you revert back unless you're interacting with those same people and you still have friendships with those same people. Because I can say, okay, so I can say that is for certain. Madison, my longest best friend since I was born,
Mhm.
we sometimes revert back to our childish behavior
Right.
in the way that we talk to each other about certain things. And it's just because we have so much history and, there's a comfort there of like, every aspect of my life, basically. Like you've seen me
She
as a
knows
child.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know her. So I feel like, yes, like I think that you would revert back if you've kept that friendship with that person and there's history there. But I think because of the distance that there's been from, 18 to 28, and
Which
you've
is
had
wild.
and you've had no contact, no communication,
Mhm.
I do think that there is a difference in the person that you're going to be meeting again.
Then that leads me to another question related. How do you think people are going to remember you? Are people going to remember you? They're going to be like, Kenzie, Kenzie who?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the people that I didn't really talk to, I'm sure that they wouldn't remember me. And
Yeah.
same for I wouldn't remember them. But I think obviously the people that I was friends with or acquaintances with, like, yeah, I think that we would remember each other. I would hope.
Mhm.
I'm also terrible with names. I remember meeting someone. I like went to Berkeley and I ran into somebody with my mom and I was like, I don't even remember
You're just
what your
friendly.
name. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I was friendly, but I was like, I literally do not remember their name. I don't remember their name. But I feel like people would remember me. And here's where a lot of like honesty comes into the situation cuz you can look at all the positives of what you think people would remember you by, but I think after a lot of deep self-reflection on myself, I think I can definitely say that I was like annoying at times and I was very like outspoken on certain things. Like I would just share my opinion unfiltered, wouldn't really think if this would hurt somebody's feelings or not. I would just kind of blurt it out.
Mhm.
Um for some reason I felt like I attracted a lot of like bullying comments from people. And instead of being the victim, I really tried to look at like, okay, well, what was I doing in that situation? Because I felt like I kept attracting it. So it's like, is it because I was combative and I was saying shit back to the boys and they were like, a girl talking back to me. Like I'm not going to let a girl minimize me, and then they get all huffy puffy and immature and insecure, and then they start, saying some shit that is very hurtful.
Or guys test boundaries, and if you're respected as an equal, it's like, okay, I'm going to talk a little shit and be mean to you,
Right.
and if you can give it back and dish it out, we're on that level.
Yeah.
If
And
you can't, then we're not on that level.
yeah, I don't think that I took shit very well.
Yeah.
I was very sensitive. I've always been very sensitive, but I always took it very personally.
Yeah.
Like anything that would happen to me
That'll make you a
negative
target.
wise. Oh yeah, I just took things very personally, which is something that I feel like I've, even in just the last few years, I've tried to
You've gotten
grow out
much
of
better
that.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like at the end of the day, it's not always about me.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I'm just like on this journey of self-reflection. But yeah, I think people, I mean, I was always like super nice and friendly to people. I don't think I was like trying to be mean, like
Yeah.
I wasn't like a intentionally mean person.
Yeah.
I always like to have fun. Sorry. I'm like okay, I'm actually going to stop. But like
You're good.
I think I was like reflecting on a lot of the things of how did people look at me?
Hmm.
And I kind of like went towards the negatives a little bit.
I did too. um, so I was not popular, but I was well liked. I would
Okay.
say that.
Yeah.
So I expect
I would
to
say
be
that's the
met.
same for me. Like,
That's how I
same.
anticipate being met with, like, Mike, not like, oh God,
Yeah.
and also not like, oh, Mike is here. Oh, geez.
Yeah, I don't think those two negative reactions,
Yeah.
I don't think that would be for me either. I think it would be like either, oh, there's Kenzie, or it'd be like, oh my gosh, Kenzie. Like it would probably be one of those two.
Yeah. I don't want people to think that I haven't changed because I have the same haircut. I had
You
a
had
mullet.
that haircut
I had a
in
mullet in high
Oh,
school.
I didn't know that.
I've had like, I don't know how many mullets, probably 6 or 7 at this point.
Actually, I feel like I do remember seeing a photo of you in the ice bath with a mullet, but I have also seen, and maybe it was just freshman and sophomore year.
Freshman year, I was clean cut. I had like a little Justin Bieber, like keep
Yeah.
doing this. And then sophomore year, I shaved my head.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I grew a mullet after that. But I don't want people to think I'm the same person just because I have great hair and an awesome hairline. I don't want to be judged
Right.
for my hairline. Okay.
Yeah.
But of the things that have not changed, I think a lot of people will continue to see me as like an attention whore, somebody who has a need for attention, but
Really?
it's translated. So I wore short shorts all throughout high school. I had a mullet. I dressed awkwardly and differently, and that's like I'm artistic. I'm not like you. That was kind of
Did
like
you still wear those jeans?
those big baggy
Yeah.
jeans. Yeah, your
You
favorite.
did?
When it was cold, sometimes, yeah. But I would wear short.
Those jeans.
I went through a solid like year plus phase of only wearing rugby shorts. I think it might have been 2 years. It was a long time. So
Every day?
yeah, like my family just kind of was like, God damn it. Like here he is with his short shorts, like at Christmas, button down, looking clean up top. I sit at the table, everything's great. I stand up and you see the top of my thighs, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, come on. Yeah. So that was me. I don't do that anymore. Just to the gym where they belong.
Yes. Don't worry. I've styled him a little bit better.
You have. But that attention whore aspect, that need for attention, has manifested in other ways. We're doing a podcast, for example. I'm doing stand-up comedy. I think people will look at that as one of two ways. Either, yeah, I guess Mike was kind of funny and that makes sense. You should probably go that route. Or this guy's trying to be Joe Rogan. One of the two.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Jiu-jitsu, podcast, comedy. Bad at all of them.
And you're truly thinking from their perspective, not your
I would roast myself that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
That's what I picture. I'm giving people like a really good in. if
Yeah,
you
I
wanna get
feel like
under
you're
my skin.
giving them the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. Well, if you trim the low hanging fruit, no one can take it from you. That's what I learned. Yeah.
So, okay, so you think that people would look at what you're doing now and be like, okay, it kind of makes sense with who he was in high school.
Like, God, that guy just can't get enough attention. What's wrong with him?
You think that's how people looked at you? Like that's how they remember you as an attention whore? Or
I
is
don't
that
know.
how you're kind of viewing yourself? Like that's the difference here.
I think it's a more honest interpretation of my own behavior. I don't necessarily know if people think that. I think some of my best friends probably think that.
Yeah.
So, couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Hmm. Okay, well, you're the one that asked the question.
Well, yeah, I'm asking. How do you think you're remembered? That's how I think I'm going to be remembered, but that's my
Okay.
version of it. My narrative doesn't have to apply to everyone.
Yeah, like I think when I look at what I'm doing now and people, if they were to meet me now and be like, oh, you're doing, a creative project, your podcast, you're a project manager, you live up in the mountains. I would think that some people would be like, oh, that makes sense. But I didn't really show a lot of like my creativity side to people because in high school, I really was more into like athletics, like I was playing soccer, but I didn't really show a lot of that side to my high school class
Hmm.
and like my friends even in that period of time. And the reason I thought about this today because I was like, journaling, like writing down. Um, I think it's because in elementary school, I transferred to another elementary school, like not halfway through, but like a quarter of the way through. And then in middle school, I transferred middle schools. And so the people that I went to high school with, they did not know me growing up. They didn't really know me as much in middle school. They
Yeah.
didn't have sixth or seventh grade with me. I came in as the new kid in eighth grade. And then in elementary school, I kind of switched a little bit through, but the people that I went to elementary school the second, or the time that I transferred was like second grade. So it's like we basically grew up together. But I would say that that is why I think I felt left out
Mm.
so much from high school. And I think it's because there was so much history that I saw with other friendships that people had. And it was so hard for me to like infiltrate some friendships because there was history there.
Yeah, you were on the
It
outs.
wasn't just history of being friends, it was like family history. And it all kind of clicked with me. I was like, that's like, I'm not feeling crazy for feeling left out. Like, these
Hmm.
people didn't know me.
Yeah.
They really didn't like know
Well, you
who
also
I
didn't
was
really
as a
know
kid.
yourself.
No, but I feel like the people that I went to my second elementary school and sixth and or seventh and yeah, sixth and seventh grade, I feel like those were like very transformative years for me. I feel like those people really did know my true self and my true heart. And I feel like once I transferred to my second middle school, all my hopes and dreams went away. I'm not even
Just
joking
got
because I was
crushed.
super into theater and I was doing that and all my friends in elementary and my first middle school like they would come support me and we would like do plays at my house growing up. And then once I got to my second middle school, I felt so much judgment. It wasn't cool to do any of that. My friends that I was transferring over to, they were like my soccer friends. So
Mhm.
I just pursued that.
Where where does this plug into reunion versus just high school experience?
It's more me reflecting on high school
Okay.
of like why I felt a certain way and why I don't really want to go back. So connecting what I just said to the high school reunion is I feel like I didn't have the history with them because I only had 4 years really of friendship. Whereas a lot of those people from high school, they have middle school together, they have elementary school together. There's literally eight or not 18, but there's like at least 12 or 13 years of history. I only had like really 4.
Like 8 years of history. If you go to the same kindergarten through middle school,
Yeah.
yeah, about 8 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
From 5 to 13, you just know people. And then you're thrust into a different environment, but you don't. That was broken multiple times.
Right.
And you still adapted well. You're not maladapted at all, I don't think.
No, I mean I am a social butterfly at heart and I made friends. Like and I don't want to discount like the friendships that I had. I felt like I did have really close deep friendships with people like that. I'm not trying to discount
Hmm.
what friends I had and but I think it's more of an internal thing that I just realized is like because I had transferred multiple times, there was no consistency there for me.
Mm,
And so the last 4 years just kind of felt like I was proving myself for no reason.
that sucks.
Yeah.
What do you picture what a high school reunion looks like?
I imagine the gymnasium
Hmm.
and a bunch of circle tables.
Some like what
I
are they called?
imagine like a
Balloon
live,
arches.
yeah, balloon arches, a live band playing,
Is there a
food.
dance? I kind of picture it promy. It's like
Yeah.
prom, but everybody's dressed up and older
Yeah.
and just like, oh, I hate most of you.
Yeah. Like always sunny. Like
Yes.
that's how I imagine a high school reunion. But
Uh,
I don't think it has to be that way. I think high school reunions can be, you meet up at like a restaurant and you
mhm.
book it out for like a class of people, which would be a lot. Or it's at somebody's house if they have like a really, I don't know.
It just sounds odd.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess. I don't
come
really
on,
know. Our
everybody.
class was pretty big, so I can only imagine it at the gymnasium because I think you have to
Yeah.
coordinate it with the high school too.
Yeah. There are certain people that I have accidentally kept tabs on that I'm like excited to see. And they don't know that. Like I won't name names because it would be weird to just be like I've been socially stalking this person a little bit, but I'm excited to see like so what's been going on in your life? Tell me the whole story
Yeah.
because I've been paying attention.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little weird.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely people that I keep tabs on too. But again, that social media just takes that mystery out of it. It takes the desire to want to go rekindle anything,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, there are some, pyramid scheme girlies, there's some multi-level marketing girlies. This is their Super Bowl. They look forward to that high school reunion because that's where they can find a bunch of boss babes and they can join their team, make a bunch of motherfucking money together.
Hmm.
I'm excited about it. Have you talked to your parents or grandparents about reunions at all?
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to my parents a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So why are you asking?
Because I talked to my grandparents about high school reunions and they have them super frequently. And it's because everybody keeps dying. So it's like every 5 years, every 3 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
as you get older, the reunions get more and more consistent because it's
Mm,
like, well, Joey died. And it's just less and less people show up. One, because like they have other lives going on.
right.
But the older you get, the more you're like, how many of us are left? Like,
But why keep having them?
well, it's
Is it like a funeral for all the people
kind
that
of
died?
a little bit, but like socially, these people don't have social media a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Or they
that makes
have
sense.
they have Facebook with like a photo that's too close to their face.
Yeah. I
And
don't think my dad has gone to a high school reunion. I don't really know. I need to ask him, but he grew up on the East Coast, so it's kind of a trek for him to get there. But my mom definitely has gone to quite a few of her high school reunions, and she even goes to her older sisters because they were, pretty close in age and friends with
yeah,
each other's friends. So, which I think that would be kind of fun. Like I'm actually kind of excited to go to your high school reunion. I think that would be fun.
you're like, wow, you make a lot more sense.
But I just think it would be fun. But like when you think about coming to my high school reunion, does that excite you?
Yeah, I know a couple people.
Oh.
Yeah, I would have rugby friends immediately, and I would probably just drink beer and hang out with them. And then every now and then,
Where would I be?
I don't
So
know,
you just
yapping.
leave me at my high school reunion?
You'd be yapping. You're like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in forever. And I'd be like,
I mean, that'd
yeah,
be true. There's
yeah,
definitely people that like I wouldn't mind seeing for sure, and
yeah.
it wouldn't be bad. I think it's more just like there's no desire to open it back up.
I'm gonna be vulnerable about that for a moment. There are certain social situations that I hate being in, and being the plus one that has no idea what's happening conversationally, and you don't want to be rude and be like, who the fuck is this? But you stand there and you smile, and it's like, oh, so great. I don't know if I've met you or if I've seen you before, if this is a first time interaction. So I'll usually kind of clam up and just be like, oh, cool. And then that's
Those interactions make you nervous?
not nervous. I don't like them. They're
Oh.
like one of my least favorite interactions because you're just like, when the fuck is this gonna be over? Like I don't know you, and it's
Mm.
socially inappropriate, but it's like I just hate those. Do you feel that?
No, not really. I can just stand there in a social situation and I'm just fine. Like if I'm not talking and I'm just listening, like it's okay. I don't really it doesn't like bother me. It doesn't bother me for you to see someone that you haven't seen in years
Yeah.
and I don't know who they are.
I'm bothered that I can't just leave. I think that's what I'm bothered by is like, all right, well, I'm gonna see myself out of here. I can't do that socially. It's not allowed. Like we just had one at the coffee shop recently where I would have loved to just be like, great to see you. All right, bye. But I'm not the one in charge of leaving that scenario because you're engaged in conversation.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think you can just do whatever you want. If you want to be rude, you can be rude.
Yeah. I just don't want to be known as being rude. People will listen to this and think that. It's different.
I had a question that we kind of already have talked about, but for significant others that have been together for a long period of time, or actually, it doesn't even count for a long period of time. If you didn't go to high school with your significant other, and we have already asked this, do you think that we would have dated or been friends in high school?
Friends maybe, but dated absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think we would have dated.
No. Had you known me like a year earlier, you would have been like, what a douche. Like
You think
it's
so? You think you would have been mean to me though?
I don't know. Because knowing like 17, 18-year-old Mike, which is a different person, literally a decade has passed, I was like just cared only about myself, was very like, I'm doing this is where I'm going. I had been in a long relationship from freshman to like mid sophomore year, late sophomore year, and I was just running and gunning. I was like, ladies can't hold me down. Like, you can't tell me what to do. And that, I don't know. I just don't think that's like a good energy to bring to a relationship. I think you would have seen me in a different light.
Yeah, I just don't think if you had met me in high school, I think you would have maybe found me a little annoying.
You would have definitely found me annoying. But it's
Yeah.
crazy because a year later, like a lot of life can transpire freshman year of
That's what I'm
college.
saying though.
Yeah.
Like that's why 10 years to me seems like such a significant amount of time that if you have not changed
Hmm.
and grown for the better, well, first of all, I don't really think I want to be like around you.
Right.
Like I
There's very few people that I'm like, wow, you were really cool when you were like 17.
right. Yeah, no, totally. That's
Great hang.
yeah, no, that's very true. But yeah, I don't think we would have dated. Maybe friends. Probably friends.
Maybe. I would have potentially been mean to you if I thought you were cute. Did you flirt that way? Was that one of your styles? Would you be like kind of not bitchy, but like bully esque towards guys that you thought were cute?
I was always on the defense. Like even if I thought a guy was cute, the moment if he started like talking any kind of shit to me, I just felt like I had to protect myself and
Mm.
like I would always go on the defense with which would then make me look kind of combative and like really annoying.
Combative's a good word.
It is. Yeah, I mean it's more about like I don't think I really showed my true self because I was just always on the defense.
When are we going to get invites to this high school reunion? How does that happen? I looked on Facebook. There's no Facebook group.
Yeah, the Facebook group that I looked into, it got scammed by a bunch of sugar daddies.
What?
Like there's so many comments in the one that
Like
I found on
infiltrated by
Facebook.
old men?
Yes, and just by like bots, I think.
Okay.
But it's just a bunch of like I don't even again with the names and the people like I don't know who had posted this, but like some random name I saw was talking about a reunion again. And then I look at all of the comments and it's a bunch of like people in their 50s and 60s that are like, I'm in. Yes. Like, oh, if you're looking for a sugar daddy, click the link below. And I'm like, okay, clearly this is not the Facebook page. I don't know what happened to it. But the class president that we did have, I don't I think I recently saw her mom with my mom and I had asked that and I remember her saying that she was not down to do it. Like she didn't want to plan it.
Well, yeah, I don't think
It's a
anybody
lot of work. I can imagine that like no one really wants to
who
do
wants
that.
that burden.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a lot of free time. Like
A lot
or
of free time and a desire to really want to see everybody from high school.
and to care enough that it's a good event because otherwise why not just call up those people and be like, "Hey, do you want to hang out?"
Right.
That would make way more sense, I
Yeah.
think.
If someone became famous, like let's just say you didn't have a desire to go to your high school reunion, because I know that you do. If someone became famous from your class, would that inspire you to go?
No, I'm trying to be that person. I
So
don't give a
they
shit.
would steal the limelight from you basically and you're
Kind
like
of, yeah.
you're like
Like
I can't compete.
it's not about competition. It's more just like I'm in my own lane. I'm focused on me.
Imagine though like Joe Rogan was in your class.
Yeah, well that would be weird because he's like almost 60.
No, but I'm saying like that type of like or just in that class in general, like Joe Rogan's class high school class. Like, that is just such a crazy thing.
Yeah, I don't think those people go to their reunions. I think they have their friends, and if you were cool enough to stick around, that's it. I don't think that you hang with the normies. It would be weird to be super famous, then you go back and you see all these people that treated you different,
Hmm.
and we're like, yeah, I noogied that guy, and now he's worth $100 million.
I think it would depend if I liked him or not.
What are they famous for?
Well, it can be anything. Famous could be like they're a famous podcaster. They could be like a famous soccer player or like football, NFL.
Okay, along the same vein, I'm going to step on your question for one moment, if that's okay. Do you know if anybody from your class had an OnlyFans?
No, but there's definitely a group of people that I can imagine who would
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
I read a shock.
Actually, yes. No, there actually is someone.
Okay. We're not
We're
naming
not
names.
naming names, but
Yeah.
yes, no, I actually, yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know, but I would definitely guess that there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me. I read a shocking statistic about OnlyFans. The shocking statistic was women 18 to 24, 10% of them have an OnlyFans. 1 in 10. Isn't that scary?
Wait, currently the ages from 18 to 24?
Yeah.
So, year of 2025, ages from 18 to 24, 1 in 10 have OnlyFans. Wow.
10% of women aged 18 to 24 are on OnlyFans.
That's really
Sad.
crazy. Yeah.
That is insane.
That
Super
is
sad.
really sad, actually.
Yeah. Imagine the dating pool. Like, that has to be kind of a vetting question. Like, so do you show your butthole for money on camera?
Yeah. Honestly, Lover, I think that if people met me now from when I was in high school, because another thing is like, I think my beliefs were also just very dramatic and different
Mm-hmm.
from when I was in high school. And I think that you have made me question the world a little bit and push back on like mainstream media and
The liberal
narrative.
media.
Well, just like not just the liberal media, like in general, like media stories that are I'm being told and conditioned
Yeah.
to listen to. I just feel like my mindset is so much different and it's for the better. And I think maybe people might be more interested in being my friend if they met me now. So leading to my question that
Yeah.
I wanted to open up with, speaking about friends, knowing what you know now, having the maturity that you have now, if you were to instill that in your high school self, would you choose the same friends? Which might be a little bit of like a controversial
Ooh.
question. But do you think that you would have continued to be friends with those people? And do you think they would have chosen you if you had the personality that you have now?
I'm going to answer that second part of the question first. No. If I was myself now, the
Yes.
people that I was friends with probably would not be friends with me.
Really?
Yeah. The first part of that question has a very odd answer. There are a handful of times that I have experienced like an older version of myself coming to me in a dream and telling me, do this or don't do this. And it's kind of like if I could go back to my past self and say, hey, like I'm from the future, don't do this. I've had that happen twice. One of them was when I was 16. I had a dream that one day all of us would be treated equally, regardless of skin color. No, I came to myself in a dream and was like, the friends that you're hanging out with are going to not lead you down a good path. Like, stop being friends with these people. And had that conversation with my buddy Sterling and was like, the people we're hanging out with fucking suck. And if we stick with them, like, life is not going to be good. Like, we're going to be kind of stuck here in this point. And so he and I made the decision to like break off of that friend group and like just find other friends. And socially, that's like right in the middle of high school. It's like changing a major in college after you've done a lot of the coursework.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh no. So made that change. It was one of the best changes I could have. It opened up a bunch of opportunities socially, like fun wise, athletically, I think educationally even.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that I would not have given myself other advice because it feels like I gave myself advice like that. It's weird.
Yeah, that is, it's like prophetic in a way.
Yeah, I'm kind of a prophet. Follow me. What about you? Would you given the information you have now,
Mm-hmm.
all right, and you download that to little Kenzie's head, and you're like, hey, young Kenz, you going to be friends with those people?
Yeah, I think I would have continued to be friends with the people that I was friends with. One, because like I said before, going into high school, like I don't want to discount the friendships that I had. Like I really did have good friends. I think it's more of the mindset that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I would have cautioned little Kenzie to
Mm.
understand is that not everything is about you and you don't need to take everything personal because I really did have great friends. Like I laughed a lot with them. We got into like a bunch of little fun adventures like
That's part of a worldview too. It's
yeah,
like now that you're older, you have a bigger worldview, but when you're
right.
younger, you don't have that.
Like I really do think the reason I am who I am is because of the friends that I had. So I would not have changed the friends that I hung out with. I really think it was just a mindset thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a moment where you're like, this is a pivotal moment in my life and I know it?
Yeah. I've had that a few times.
You notice it a handful of times where you're like, this is a big change. I didn't realize it at the time, but like that breaking off of friend group, we would not be together had that not happened.
Mhm.
Like breaking off of that friend group is how I became friends with Rahul,
Mm.
who introduced us. Like had I never become friends with Rahul, we would have never gotten together.
Mm.
That's crazy.
I wanted to ask another question about friends. So we talked about like if your friends knew you now, would they still be friends with you and vice versa? Knowing
Mhm.
what you know now, would you have chosen those same friends? So my follow-up question is the friends that you have now, do you think that they would have been friends with you in high school?
Yes. It's hard to tell, but yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Because
I think a few of my friends would.
yeah, like
I don't know if all of them would
pretty
have.
much all the Reno guys would have plugged in very well
Yeah,
with, they plug in well with everybody, I
right.
think. So it's really hard to not look at that and be like, wow, you guys are all such great people. You would hate me a
Right.
decade ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also love my friends and they probably hate me from time to time, like when we lived together in college. So,
So the reason that I ask about the friends is because I was also reflecting on how the people that I'm no longer connected with from high school, I have seemed to found well, I have seemed to find similar friendships now
mhm.
that reflect those friendships from high school. Not all, but certain personality types I'm clearly attracted to.
Yeah, it's like a
And
recurring
they're
pattern.
yes, like it's that gravitational pull that you have with certain people. And I've noticed that there's definitely some friendships that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this reminds me of this person. Oh, this is coming up again."
Hmm.
And part of me is like, am I, because there's certain personality types that like you really get along with and it's fun, and then there's other personality types where you're like, "Why am I experiencing this again?"
Yeah.
And it's almost like that it's like that comfortability of like what you're used to. But
It's,
part of me is like, is that a learning lesson that I'm going through?
I used
Where
to think it was.
yeah,
I used to think that that was like God and life is trying to teach you something.
right.
I think it's more of a pattern of behavior that puts you in the same situations where
Mm,
you're around the same people. And unless you break that pattern of behavior, you're going to keep experiencing those same types of people. So if you're always going to the bars every weekend, you're always going to have those drunk conversations with those people that are friends for like that night.
yeah,
And you have your drinking buddy crew
right.
and a decade goes by and you guys are doing the same thing and you're like, I don't really like any of these people, but I keep doing this. Why do I keep learning this lesson? It's not learning a lesson. You just keep doing the same shit.
Yeah, I think it can be both though.
It
Like you're
can.
you're, because if
It's
you're
not
trying to
one or
get
the
out
other.
of
Yeah.
I mean, but here's I'm just saying like there's just certain things like within friendships that you notice where you're like, why am I dealing with this again? Like I'm like way past this. Like there shouldn't be I don't want to be dealing with this shit. But then it's yeah, I think that's a really good point is like, well, what are you doing that's contributing to that thing that's being triggered in your friendship?
Like, how do you treat other people?
Right.
Maybe they feel more comfortable to be this way.
Right.
Or maybe you're attracting those types of people because you put up with a certain level of bullshit.
Right.
Or
Or maybe
or you
you're being
don't.
annoying and
Yeah.
that's why they're treating you as if you're annoying.
Yeah. Yes. Am I the problem?
Literally that's like the question I've been asking the last couple years is like I don't want to be the victim, so is it me? Am I the problem here?
That's the best place to look first.
Yeah.
Like I wonder how many people don't do that until later in life. And they're just like, man, all of my friends, like I have a close person in my life that has this continually happen. All of her friends suck. Every single one of them is terrible and she gets treated poorly. And that's always the story. And I'm
Right.
like, well, maybe it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. And that sucks to say, and no one else wants to say it, but like the pattern just keeps happening. It might be you as the problem.
Yeah, if you're like continuously seeing the same shit come up in your life,
Hmm.
I think it is a moment of like, well, what am I doing to contribute to it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
why do all your friendship relationships have the same tainted issues?
Right.
Like everybody treats me poorly, everybody's being a bitch to me. It's like, well, maybe you're being a bitch and people are responding to that.
Yeah.
That could also be a
No,
possibility.
there's so, I mean, I think that is the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Or head on the nail?
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay. Yeah.
You got it right.
Gosh, good. Sometimes my phrases and sayings just don't come out the way that I want them to.
We should change YFL to like the Peanut Butter Mouth podcast or
Yeah.
something. What's the desired outcome of going to a reunion? What are you hoping takes place when you go there?
Well, I think it can be different for the different stereotypes that would go,
Hmm.
right? Like if we're thinking about someone who is like maybe a little nerdy, someone who maybe was a little insecure and they come back and they're successful, they're big, bulky, they're strong, they're hot, they have a hot significant other, they have beautiful kids,
They just
like
got their tits done.
yeah,
They're
like
looking good.
all this
Yeah.
different, I think that there's like this validation that people maybe need, or maybe it's like a statement
Hmm.
that they want to make to other people, like, yeah, I succeeded. I don't get that personally, like I don't understand that at all, but that would be one reason, right? And then maybe another reason is I like thought about this, like the business savvy person
Yep.
that is like, "Oh, I need to go back and like rekindle so I can grow my network and I can make
Yes.
more money." Like that frat lord
Hmm.
that is like the more people that are in your network, the more money you're going to make.
The more multi-level marketing pyramid scheme
Yes.
girlies get
That's
together.
literally like that's how I picture another stereotype.
Hmm.
And then you picture like you picture like the hot popular person that needs to go back for that validation of themselves of like maybe they're not that same anymore. Maybe their glow up was in high school and they just have not taken care of themselves
Hmm.
for 10 years and they need to come back and kind of feel that confidence boost, but then they realize once they're there that everyone else is hot and they glowed up in high school and that was it for them. But again, these are all
Yeah.
stereotypes. This is very
Yeah.
surface level. I'm not,
Yeah.
but I think that there's different reasons for going back to a high school reunion. What's
I have a bone to pick with
okay?
one person, and it's because they tried to recruit me for a pyramid scheme. And so I look forward to just like, I'm going to run into him at some point, and as soon as they say like, "Oh man, it's good to see you," just like, yeah, remember when you tried to recruit me for a pyramid scheme?
Right.
Like that was pretty fucking douchey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like just have to get that out of the way. And I don't hold on to a lot of resentment, but that one's just bubbling up right here for some reason. So I'm like looking forward to that like vindication moment,
Mhm.
a little bit of revenge.
Yeah.
Like I've got a pyramid scheme for you. That would be really embarrassing though to try and recruit people for pyramid schemes and then you have to go see them at your reunion
Mhm.
and like face to face be like,
Well, I was thinking about like what would be the most embarrassing thing at a high school reunion, and I think it would be like no one knows who you are. Like everyone forgot who you were. Like that would feel like so embarrassing and be like, "What the fuck?"
well,
Like I was in like most of your classes. We
it's
did a
me.
project together.
It's me, Alex from algebra.
Right.
I had the weird backpack,
Because here's the
remember?
thing is people also
Yeah.
develop and change physically.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely people out there that are that you would not recognize. And then there's also people that became fucking psychotic. Like there is this one person from my high school that I just hope got some fucking help. But like multiple years,
Some medication.
yeah, multiple years they were reaching out to my Instagram, to other friends' Instagrams, and they were just being super creepy and like just like I don't know, something was going on where it was just bam, 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 bam every single day.
Oh, I remember there was a message and it was like this
I
person's
was
having
scared.
like an actual psychotic break.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I mean, everyone lives different lives and we're all humans. Like, that's the thing is life fucking happens to us
Yeah.
after. Like, you're in this cage. You're in this cage of
You're a
it's
little
kind of like a
rat.
9 to 5. Like we're being conditioned to be these 9 to 5ers. And then you get out and you have this freedom and maybe not everyone has like the same opportunities. Maybe some people go to college and some people work right away. I don't know what it is. And some people had psychotic breaks because of drug.
Minus that psychotic break thing that literally sounded like the beginning pitch to a pyramid scheme. Like, don't you want financial freedom? They're treating you to be a 9 to 5er. Come on.
Yeah. But I think like there's definitely a lot of people. I mean, thinking about like who became homeless. Like now, I started off on an optimistic note, and I may be ending on a negative note. But we just volunteered at the resource center for homeless people here in Reno, and we saw someone that we went to college that became homeless. And then it just kind of made me think like how many people out there like really took a turn for the worst.
That was weird, but not it wasn't outside the realm of
No,
possibility.
but it did make me like think a little bit outside of myself where I was like, "Whoa."
Well, it's more of like that sucks that this was like a predictable path and it went that way. Like when you see somebody who's like, "Oh man, like I don't how the hell have you made it this far?"
Yeah.
Like I've interacted with a few of those people and they seem to do okay. They get out on the other side whether they have like a really good lifeline or a good safety net something. Where it's like, I don't know how the fuck you made it this far, but in the wild you'd be eaten.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes.
I don't know, I just had another thought actually. I had another thought about public high school versus private high schools and how some friends that I have had growing up that have gone to private schools and how different of an experience they've had with people and maybe the resources that those people have right out of high school versus people at public school. It's kind of just like a banshee of kids, and all of them come from different wealth and different opportunities and family dynamics, and it just feels like a free for all. And it makes me wonder, just like what are the success rates that you see from a private high school reunion versus a public high school reunion,
And you and I both happen to have gone to high school publicly
right?
in very wealthy areas.
Yes.
So that also is a different twist. Like when you think of public school,
Yeah, but not everyone at my school is like wealthy and rich.
I
Like,
wasn't.
yeah.
It's not, but you're in a nice area. You're at a
Yes,
nice school
yes.
where it's not like, oh my God, we have metal detectors and guns are getting
Right.
pulled.
No, that's very true. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
No, true.
when you think public school, I don't think my experience.
I just think when I've
Yeah.
talked to people where you can tell they went to private school,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, can people tell that I went to public school?
Ooh, that's a good question. I had somebody at comedy the other day tell me they thought I was rich. And I was like, first of all, thank you. Second of all, that's a little offensive. Like, because I'm not.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Someone thought that you were like
Like
rich?
wealthy. Yes.
Like
And
came
it's
from a wealthy family? Like
like
you were one of those.
currently. And I was like, thank you, but
Wait,
no.
hold on. Like a trust fund kid wealthy, or that you
Yeah. Like,
made your own success wealthy?
no, trust fund wealthy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's
And,
probably the haircut.
well, it's more confusing to me because
Did you
it's like,
ask why?
yeah. I was like, do I exude like a I'm better than you confidence or what is that? It's like, no, it's because I'm articulate and well spoken. And I was like, interesting. That's yeah.
Interesting.
Like I was moderately offended by it, which is also odd.
Yeah.
I'd love to relish in wealth and be like, fuck yeah, I'm wealthy.
Right.
But because I'm not, it was almost like it felt like a dig. But it's like, you perceive me as wealthy because I pronounce words?
I
Like,
mean, I'm telling you, lover, I don't pronounce words correctly, and people will probably think I grew up from like trailer trash. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to put that in there.
no. Well,
I'm not going to put that in there. Let me rephrase what I
well,
just said.
no, because what you just said makes sense, but let's look at it this way. The Hawk Tuah girl, okay?
Right.
I don't think the Hawk Tuah girl is trailer trash or came from poverty.
No.
I think she's doing pretty well too. But she has that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna spit on that thing.
Right,
Like,
right. Well, yeah, I think that's just when you grow up in the South. But I mean, yeah, I didn't really think about that. Like the way that you are very articulate and you have a way of speaking that is much different from the way that I speak.
Everybody speaks differently.
It's just an interesting comment. I just wonder if people think that I went to public school or private school. And if that's even like a thought that people have. I really do feel like I have that thought though about other people of like, oh yeah, they went to private school.
You would expect somebody who went to private school to carry themselves a little bit different and negatively.
Mm-hmm.
I see it negatively. The people who go to public school, I think there is this combativeness of like, I'm not dirty, I'm not poor, I'm not stupid, is like how public school is talked about
Yeah.
through the lens of private school.
Yeah, like the public versus private school, I think that there's that element to it for sure.
It would be fun to do stand up at a reunion and just start roasting people. Like, oh, there's, I don't remember him. Next. I don't know. It would be fun.
Like a talent show.
Yeah.
Like come back and oh my gosh.
A talent show.
Like everyone has to go up and like say where they are in life and like show off.
How many
something
people are
that they
going to
wanna
lie?
share. Yeah, that's true.
My mom told me that somebody rented a Chrysler Sebring at her last reunion she went to.
Wow.
And that was to like, look at how good I'm doing in
Oh
life.
my gosh.
But she
that is
rented a
so-
fucking Chrysler. And it was like, it's kind of like a Michael Scott moment. Like, get
Well,
the drop top.
There's also like drinking that happens. So like how many people are looking forward to a high school reunion where they're like putting on their lipstick, putting on their makeup. Ooh, I'm gonna go look so good for this person. And they show up and they have a wife.
Yeah.
Or they have a
I'm
like
going to swoon Matt from football.
like how many hookups happen at high school reunions? Probably a lot.
Ooh, kind of like a wedding
Yeah.
where there's like, you definitely want whatever that was that you didn't get in high
Yeah,
school.
like
You're
that's
"Ah."
another I think desire that people have when they go back to the high school reunion is like I want this person specifically to see how hot I am, and
I've
I
always
want to
wanted to be
them.
fingered in this gym. I never got it. Now it's my time. Class of 2015, from Granite Bay to the East Bay. Go Grizzlies.